Hi guys, this is Tal from Anim Toolbox and Animation Layers add-ons. I want to show you a new type of world space control I've added for Anim Toolbox called Cursor Pivot. So I select the foot control and set the cursor at the tip of the foot. I can also snap it to a vertex using the snap tool. Now I launch world space controls. I can remove the root control just for clarity. And now for the type, instead of copy transforms, I select Cursor Pivot. And you can see that the world space control has moved to the cursor position. Now I press OK and the animation is baked from the cursor pivot position. The world space control is still controlling the original bone, and the original animation is still the same. However, in this case it looks strange since these are FK controls. So I'm going to remove this control and to add a temp IK control to the three FK bones of the leg. Temp IK has now also a new option for baking the org bones. This is useful when having issues to preserve the original animation with an IK system. However, it can double the bake time. In this case, I don't really need it. The temp IK already preserves the original animation precisely. The IK control is now controlling the leg and the foot. Now I want to add world space cursor pivot to the foot. When I launch it, you can notice that the constraint selected to temp controls is turned off by default. If I check it and press OK, I will get an error saying that the selected bones are already connected to the temp controls. This is because the selected bone is already constrained to the IK control. So I still create the world space control, but I just leave it off. The temp control is created with the animation baked on it, but it is not really controlling the foot bone. However, I can now select the IK control and then the cursor pivot control and link temp chains. Now I can control the IK leg pivot from the tip of the foot. I'm checking the gimbal rotation of the pivot control. If I don't like it, I can go to Anim Tools and then get a recommendation for the rotation order. The most recommended to avoid gimbal lock is YXZ. I convert it, but I can try also other orders like XYZ. The leg is now controlled both from the cursor pivot and the temp IK control. If I decide to remove the parenting of the cursor pivot from the temp IK, then I can go to the link temp chains settings and use unlink temp chains. Now the IK control is again in world space and disconnected from the cursor pivot. World space also has a new small button next to it for adding empty temp controls. This control will be created in the selected bone position, but without controlling the bone and without any animation on it, but can be useful for linking temp controls. It is still possible to change its size and shape from the UI. I remove it using cleanup selected chains and create a new one without any bone selected. Now it's created at the cursor position. One more thing worth mentioning is that now it is possible to link also the pole target of the IK chain to different controls separately from the IK control.